Hello everyone and welcome to Prehistoric Kingdom. In this video I will be showing you how I built a snowy indoor biome. I built them for the feathery T-Rexes for Prehistoric Kingdom, but you can do this for any of the other creatures as well. If you don't like that idea of a T-Rex in the snow, you can do it for the woolly mammoths or the saber-toothed tiger, the Smilodon. That'd be really cool actually. But I decided I wanted to build something for the floofy T-Rexes, so that's what I'm doing. And the essence of the build is what we're starting with, and it's 3 circular structures, 3 domes, and they're just copies of one another for the ease of it. And how you make a circle with items is basically you build one section of that circular build, or even just half of one section of that build, as I'm doing right now. And then what you'll see me do later is copy it all over, and then we're gonna turn it around. But I'm getting like way ahead of myself. So stylistically, the theme here is it's very modern. It's a lot of black metal, but with the light wooden. I think it might be bamboo wood. I'm not quite sure, but it's very light wood to sort of add a little bit of friendliness and a little bit more of a natural touch to it. But the modern style is definitely my preferred style for building because it is easier to blend together and to make something. So here you go. I'm selecting all of it, and this is what I mentioned earlier. I'm just selecting that entire piece with angle snap on. I'm gonna flip it over and move it right across from it. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna select both things, and I could have done this easily. Control A works to select all in a group, so this is a tip for you guys. Do Control A, and then here you go. We're gonna turn it around. Turn angle snap off for this, obviously, so you can make all of the panels, make sure that they're neatly together, tightly together, so there's no gap in between. And you just go all the way around with it. And that is how I built the domes for this indoor habitat. I'm just putting like a little top, a little roof on the center, and that is that first part done. So the biome is done, or the biome, no, the first dome is done. What I'm doing right now is I wanted to do like a skylight detail on another section of this building, and I used the hexagonal windows for that. The pattern of them was lost when you line them all up together, obviously. So I emphasized the shape of it with some shrunken down metal bars, as you can see here. You just copy those, and then we're making like this honeycomb pattern with it, just lining them all up. It's really easy using the widget in the tool. And so that's how I built a skylight that I'm going to be using for a later building that will be added to the structure quite a bit later in the video, because I'm going to be working with the domes first and foremost. Speaking of the domes here, I'm just copying them over. So I had the first one. That's all the work I did on that, and I simply copied them over to make 3 of them in total. I don't think they were quite big. Pay no attention to that square building over there. We're gonna get rid of that square building. I was not happy with that at all. But they weren't quite big enough, and I thought that I couldn't enlarge or rescale the group as a whole. You can see that in the widget it's not a function when you have the full group selected, but there is actually a way, thanks to a commenter who was very helpful. An absolutely massive thanks to Thycilia for pointing this out. But you can rescale an entire group by editing the group and then doing Control A. That works. Control A to select every single item in that group, and then you can rescale them. I hadn't figured that out myself while building, so I do feel like the domes are a little bit too small for the T-Rexes. I would have preferred to have them a little bit bigger, but I guess in a zoo, animals are in kind of small enclosures, so I'll accept it. But definitely this is a learning moment for the future that I do want to I need to remember that I can rescale an entire group. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm adding white on the interior of the domes. Obviously I could have done that way easier if I had thought of it earlier, but it was more of an afterthought that I wanted the interior to be white, just to bring home that whole snowy tundra vibe. Two of the domes have just regular white walls, but the rearmost dome, I decided to make an ice wall using white colored rock. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just covering the entire circumference of the dome with white rocks to mimic an icy wall for the T-Rexes to be living in an icy cave. And now we're gonna paint some snow on the ground. I was so happy that in Prehistoric Kingdom, even though we're just in a regular temperate biome, we do have all of the terrain paints available to us, so we can add snow in this biome. That's very different from Jurassic World Evolution 2, where we are limited to the amount of terrain paints within a single biome. That's not the case here. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to build an indoor snowy biome, exactly because we have that option in this game. And I wanted to make it realistic, so that's why it had to be an indoor fully enclosed thing, so it could be temperature controlled. Now I've added, like, there are several layers to the domes, and I've added water to two of them that are connected to each other, so I could add a waterfall in between those two, and I think that looks really cool. Really just brings the exhibit, the habitat, alive a little bit, that there's some movement in there. Now there's like a little stub of path over there. This is a viewing opportunity that I'm adding in the on the exterior wall. So I got rid of some of that wood paneling and I'm replacing it with this horizontal metal grates, or how, I don't know how else to describe it, but just to add some extra protection, because glass as a standalone thing doesn't feel particularly secure when we're talking about T-Rexes. So that's why I added this, just as a way for guests to also have a proper look into this third dome, because you don't see the third dome very well from the viewing opportunities that are inside the building itself. But there are several different viewing opportunities within the building that I think are pretty cool. This with the path over there, that's just one of them. It's an elevated path. I've added some rocks around it to make that edge more natural. And for this section, I wanted the view of the T-Rexes to be completely unobstructed by walls or whatever, right? So what I did with these poles, this is something that's inspired by rhinos and elephant enclosures where, you know, because the animals are so big, they can't squeeze between those poles. So that's the idea there. And this is the second viewing opportunity, just behind glass. The glass wall was a little low for me, so I added some extra, more of that, like, similar grating on top. I feel like I did pretty well in keeping the style of the entire building similar enough by bringing certain design elements back over, like between the front building and the three domes, to make it still look uniform. Now, you saw that square building earlier. That was a huge waste of time. It was way too blocky and boring, and I didn't know what to do with it, so I had to start over with the front building where the guests would enter. So that's what I'm building right now. I did use a reference photo for this just to come up with, like, the idea of the overhang for the entry section. But once you get started, for me at least, it's really just a case of going where the tools take you and just playing around a little bit and seeing what works and seeing how to proportion things. And also very Bob Ross, but you have, like, happy little accidents where you realize, oh, maybe this isn't perfect right now, but this actually inspires me to do something with it. For example, this building had to be 2 stories tall to meet with the roof of the biome, and I struggled with that a little bit, because why was this building so tall, you know? But in the end, I figured out a way to create, like, an elevated viewing opportunity into the habitat that I'm really happy with. So stuff like that, you just discover that as you build, and that's really exciting. That is super cool that you're just, like, discovering all of these interesting things to do. And what's great about Prehistoric Kingdom is that the sky's the limit. Anything you want to do, you pretty much can do. It is such an excellent building system, and it was just a joy to build. Yes, there is a lot of detail, so I do want to warn you against boring yourself. Maybe put on a TV show in the background, or a little bit of music to entertain yourself, because adding more detail does definitely help in making everything look so much more realistic and nice, just nice. This is probably one of my favorite pieces, like those wooden slats. Evenly spaced and all that. You can extend it out quite a bit. And I use this for like a little bit of shade on the side of the building and give the building just a bit more architectural interest. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. But again, it is just a case of looking up references if you're struggling. And then after that is just more details, more details, more details. And in the meantime, you have to trust the process, because definitely in the beginning, while I was building the domes themselves and while I was starting on this front building, I was like, this isn't working, this looks awful, it looks too simple. But once you get further and further into the building process, everything comes together and you can make some magic happen. That's maybe a bit of an exaggeration, but yeah, trust the process, because in the end, it is going to be a very cool build. You just gotta stick with it. You have to have, that patience and a little bit of dedication. But I think it's definitely worth it. I will, of course, be giving you a tour of the building at the end of this video so you can see all of the details. I didn't actually record every single thing. Like right now, we're still good. We're still rolling. But after a while, I actually realized, hey, hold on. Where is the UI for my recording program? What just happened? Well, it turned out that I'd been recording for so long that the memory space had actually filled up on that particular drive that it was saving to. So I think about 2 hours of recording were lost that way. And also I just realized this video is going to be too long anyway if I record every single thing. And in terms of the details, it's not really a learning process for you guys. You just gotta do what you want to do. I think the main structure is the most important to show you, and the end result for inspiration as well. So I really hope that you'll stick around for that and see all of the details in this building and all of the viewing opportunities, and of course the dinosaurs themselves. I also built part of this during a live stream. That was really fun. That was very helpful as well. You guys had some building tips for me, just like the comment that I showed earlier, which was a big help that I'm excited for future projects for. I do want to incorporate more Prehistoric Kingdom live streams on the channel. I just have to figure out scheduling wise how I'm gonna make that happen without selling Jurassic World Evolution 2 short, because of course we are also still playing that game on the channel. Now I'm adding like a moat around the entire T-Rex. How am I gonna call it? The T-Rex Tundra, that's like the marketing name for it, so I might as well, right? So I'm adding a moat all the way around it, because I knew beforehand that I really wanted to work with bridges and have bridges leading up to the entry points for the guests. I thought that would give it more of a wow factor. And also I figured that it could be like sort of a security feature, although I didn't really take that idea to the extreme. I didn't add any security fencing to the bridges, but I could definitely add that in later parts when I'm continuing working on this project. You could hide gating on the sides of the bridges, for example, and that way it could just be a security feature that during nighttime when the park is closed, the gates on the bridges would close, and that way the T-Rexes have like this extra perimeter around them that they can't escape. But mostly I just did it because it looks cool. Now I'm just filling in the roof over here. You can see that the way the dome connects to the roof, it's not very neat right now. I did neaten that up later on, but that's not part of the recording, so I can't show you that, but I did neaten that up quite a bit, and I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. It's definitely not perfect. It's very difficult to make 3 round buildings and 1 square building meet neatly, but I think I managed okay. What was I talking about before? Oh, right, I was talking about the live stream, actually. So there's a part of that, if you want to see me, like, build part of this habitat in real time, then you can check out that live stream. It is just available on the channel for you to rewatch if you want. I discovered that the recolorable lights were a thing in the early access. That was a very exciting moment for me. I genuinely squealed with happiness. You know, that sort of stuff. So if you want to check that out, you can. But again, I just really want to show you all of this to help inspire you for your builds, because one of the challenges of Prehistoric Kingdom is that challenge is the proper word. I can barely speak right now. But it is a challenge to your creativity. It can drain your creativity quite a bit. So inspiration is very important, and I hope that my videos, my builds can help you with that just a little bit. And if they do, then please do me the honor of subscribing to the channel and joining the first 100,000 people to subscribe to Evolution Square. I say first 100,000. I have no ideas of grandiosity that we're going to get to 200, but I'm very happy that we're closing in on that 100k. Okay, so now we're moving on to the interior of the front building, and as you see right here, this is where I had like my aha moment. I can add an elevated viewing opportunity for the T-Rex habitat because the building is 2 stories tall. I thought that was really cute to add like a I don't know how it would be called in English, like a loft, I suppose. But yeah, just an elevated part of the building, and it created not only a nice viewing opportunity into the habitat, but also like a nice cozy bit underneath that first floor flooring, lowering the ceiling to have like shops and stuff over there. So I think it all turned out very well. It was my happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. Right now I'm adding a bumper in front of it just because, you know, glass feels a little bit fragile. So I added some extra protection, and now I'm adding stairs. I actually also built an elevator right where the camera is sitting right now. That's also all part of the lost footage situation, but there's an elevator there as well. And here I'm adding the shops under that level. It's really cool that in Prehistoric Kingdom you can completely build customized shops with just using these elements, putting them inside the building. So I just added them under this, like this loft idea, added a bathroom option to it as well to sort of complete the whole experience. You know, if you get too excited, you can have a tinkle. And this is the front, like the signage of the front. I tried to do something semi-interesting with the lettering. I hope that we're gonna get some different fonts. I feel like this font is a little bit outdated in how simple it is. There are more modern fonts that I think if they're gonna do only one, I feel like they should change it. But my hope is that they're gonna add more fonts later. Now this is one of my favorite things about Jurassic World Evolution. Path. It's not my favorite part in Prehistoric Kingdom. There's a lot of good stuff in Prehistoric Kingdom. But I mixed up like different path colors to make it a little bit more interesting. That's definitely something I recommend you do as well. You know, mix up different colors so it doesn't all look like one bland, boring, same thing. I have all the best words. And of course, right front and center, we have a cool silver T-Rex statue in like a mini circular garden. So I'm adding some foliage to enhance the T-Rex over there. And I think it's so cool. The T-Rex, by the way, you can recolor it in 3 different textures. So it's marble, silver, or bronze. And you can also choose between 3 different poses for the T-Rex, so you can really get a lot of use out of that. My hope is that for the full release of the game, they release a statue for each of the species that they're gonna add, because I think it will be really cool for every single habitat to have a statue of the corresponding creature in front of it. I think that would help guests get like a safe sense of the scale of the creatures. If they can stand next to a statue, like right next to a statue, that is the right proportion. Now we're back inside the building, and I built like this modern sort of artsy installation by adding white to the wooden interior, like white concrete, and then putting the dead trees and branches in front of that, like a preserved ancient tree sort of thing. I thought it was cool. Now we're on the other side on a like semicircular bridge, which I also started during the live stream from last weekend. That I think I think it's pretty cool actually. It's pretty different to have a bridge shape like that. You'll see it later on in the video when we do like the showcase. And again, because the details matter so much in Prehistoric Kingdom, I'm adding like planter things in front of the viewing opportunity, adding some nice foliage to liven everything up. You really have to commit to the details if you want to build an awesome park. But it all starts, just take it one exhibit at a time. That's how I'm gonna do it. And I'm excited to show you the finished result. Very excited. And here we have an overview of the completed build, and I'll be giving you a tour, so hopefully you'll get plenty of inspiration from my efforts for your own exhibit builds or your park or whatever you want. First though, I wanted to show you this and like the effect of turning how much lighting there is in the world. So this is what the T-Rex biome looks like during the daytime. You know, it's all bright and sunny and cheery and whatever. But at nighttime, it's like this super colorful, inspired by the northern lights kind of situation inside as well. Recolorable lights are amazing. I'm a big fan. I'm rebranding the channel to Crazy Lights Lady, but let's just have a look around. We're gonna start over here. I'm gonna plant myself down. We're actually gonna get rid of that. And we're just gonna walk around. I think I need to be a little bit lower. Here you go. So the entire exhibit has been surrounded by water, as you saw in that overview. So to reach it, we have to cross one of 3 bridges. And then we have this beautiful statue in the front over here. I will also be showcasing all of this at night later on, just so you can see the massive effect of the recolorable lights. I've called it the T-Rex Tundra. Again, it's just to sort of make use of their feathery insulation and sort of pretend that they would have lived in a colder environment. There's a little overhead over here, and this is the other section where guests would leave, I suppose, because this is the exit. We're gonna go into the entry point, like the official entry point. Just walking around, giving you a good look at the Rex statue. Rex statue comes in 3 different poses with 3 different materials, so that's really cool. This is just like a super minimalist bench for if people want to have a sit outside in the nice weather before they go inside, because inside would be climate controlled. So this would be a automatic door, and then this would be I'm still a little bit too tall. There you go. So this would also be an automatic door. And then they come into the main lobby of the T-Rex biome, the T-Rex Tundra. There's a drink and food shop as well as a t-shirt shop. And I sort of like cheekily imagined that you would buy nice warm sweatshirts and hoodies over here. Because at this point you are in a climate controlled building, so it would be cold. And I feel like that's totally what a corporation would do. And like... let's say inspire you to buy an overpriced hoodie that's gonna keep you warm inside here. Okay, we're gonna go up the steps. Oh, a little too tall again. Oh, now I'm too short. There you go. So now we are up here, sort of have like an elevated overview into the exhibit. You see the dome structure. I added the center support a little bit later because as I was taking screenshots, actually, I realized that the roof, with just how it's built, you know, there's a lot of steel up top at the center. It just looked like it was too heavy there, so I sort of created like this massive umbrella. It's not necessarily what the original plan was, but I do think it looks better that it's supported now. But I really wanted to add like this elevated view into the exhibit, so, you know, people with like ego issues, they can look down at a Tyrannosaurus. But we also, of course, want to give the experience of watching them really up close and personal. We could also take the elevator down, but we won't. We'll just take the stairs and... oh god. Or we're gonna fall through the stairs. That's fine as well. Look, we're free people, okay? We're gonna shrink ourselves down a little bit more. We're gonna walk around. This wall has like this artsy dead tree feature, very modern. And on the flip side, over here we have a living wall or vertical garden, however you want to call it. It's very modern, it's very now. And then you come over here, there's a marble T-Rex statue, like a miniature. And then over here, this like super extra strong safety glass, whatever you want to imagine. And you can look into the exhibit, and when the T-Rexes walk by here, you really get that scale of like, wow, they're huge. And I kind of wish they would be here right now, but they're being a no-show. Should we tap the glass? Duk, 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 hello. Come entertain us, please. So the biome itself, you know, it's snowy, it's cold. That also means that I try to hold back on the foliage quite a bit. So what we do now is we're gonna walk through like this arch of rocks. And this is very special and also kind of unsafe, but whatever. This gives you a completely free, unobstructed view into the second dome. So guests would walk over here on the path, and this fence is of course just to stop the guests themselves from being very, very, very stupid. And then you have like this distance over here, we have water down here, and these pillars inspired by like rhino and elephant exhibits are just so the Rexes actually they can't squeeze through here, they're too thick. So they can't actually reach the guests. Now, would that work for dangerous predators, as it does for elephants and rhinos? Probably not. Probably not. Maybe they would find a way to squeeze themselves through. But I really wanted to create this. I think it looks pretty cool, and we can use our imagination. They're very well behaved T-Rexes. So we're gonna go into the exhibit now. Here you have an overview of just like the roof structure, the umbrella, I suppose I could call it now. There's a little bit of foliage around the edges to sort of break up all of the white. Here are the Rexes. It's Zeke and Cindy. I don't know which is which. They both look the same. This is one of the few, actually, that doesn't have sexual dimorphism between the two. And then over here we have the third dome. We have a waterfall as the water goes from a higher level to a lower level. And this one has a ice wall surrounding it, so all with white rocks that I used. And it also has an ice cave here in the corner where the Rexes can go into and have a rest. They can peek through here and be like, "Here's Johnny!" No, don't do that. Or, "Here's Cindy." I suppose that's more accurate. And of course, as you can see over here, here comes one of the T-Rexes lumbering about, having a scratch. But yeah, there's also a viewing opportunity over here. We're just gonna whoop, phase through the glass. Let me zoom out just a little bit. So here we have like this outside section where there's also a viewing opportunity into the biome without actually going into the building itself. And there's, you know, a nice seating section, some treeness, some tree goodness for shade. And there's a mini T-Rex cafe over here. So again, more seating. And if we go in here, we're almost as tall as the doorframe. Big T-Rex sign, toilets. I used the, this is really cool, like those backdrops. I think you're supposed to use them for exhibit walls, but I thought it was so cool to use them indoors in here. The trees that are coming through is not what's supposed to happen, but it actually, I don't know, feels kind of cool. I don't think I hate it, but that wasn't the intention. Same with the rocks. That's an oopsie on my part. But yeah, this is where you get your overpriced, definitely not inspired by McDonald's burgers and fries. You can have a sit over here inside as well. But why would you? It's a beautiful day. Is this hovering? This is indeed hovering. I need to make some fixes around here. That's one of the things with Prehistoric Kingdom. You're never done. You think you might be done, but you're never done. And here we have this quite unique bridge. It's a half circle. So you would walk around here. And of course, we're going to continue the build beyond this part, beyond this indoor exhibit. Next up is going to be the Argentinosaurus, as decided by chat. And I'm really excited to get started on that. I have a cool idea. It's going to go over there somewhere. Here, over there, where I've lowered it. So yeah, here you go. That's the overview. And we're going to change the lighting again, just so you can see the full effect of that. So this is the circular bridge that I'm quite proud of, not gonna lie. And if we turn it into nighttime, you see how lovely that is, all lit up. Let's go inside as well, back inside. Here you see like that, you know, it's a combination of blue, purple, pink, a little bit of green. And again, that is inspired by the Northern Lights, because I felt like that really lit it up nicely and added some color. That way, the exhibit truly looks completely different between daytime and nighttime. Like, daytime is just all white, it's just the pure snow, but at nighttime there's all of this colors going on, and I think that was really nice too. I mean, it looks completely different, and I think that's one of the most exciting things about this particular biome. So let's go over here. Ooh, let's pause it for a second so we can get like a proper guest experience right now. So they would stand over here, and then the Rex would be right there. That is so cool. Let's get rid of that. Play. I mean, come on, that looks nice. Yeah, and the lights against the white backdrop, the walls of the dome. Let's walk over here, because the other one is right there. And you can just, you know, get a feel of how close you can get to them. And that's also kind of, you know, something I just really like about this exhibit. You know, it has multiple ways of looking into the enclosure, and each of them is a different experience. Like, this is about getting close to the T-Rex. You know, sometimes they walk all the way up to the glass, sometimes they sit right in front of it so you can get super close to them. Over here you just have the experience of an unobstructed view, and it feels maybe a little bit more dangerous. You know, they're right there. And of course, finally we have the elevated view over here. So it's all like completely, oh god, it's all completely different. And I think that's really nice about it. All right. I want to show you in here, of course, all lit up. You know, just some warm white light mostly. Here a little bit of color, and here as well you can see just, you know, warm, friendly, but modern. Let's go outside. I flattened a T-Rex skull and put it on the wall as decoration. And we go outside. And we see just how beautiful the metallic interacts with the lights. So it's a combination of pink and blue. And I think it looks stunning. I love, love, love the recolorable lights. When I discovered during the live stream where I built part of this that the lights were already recolorable, I didn't think that was in early access, but it is. I got so excited. I had like a legitimate fangirl moment. So yeah, that is that. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing this build, seeing the finished product, and mostly I just hope that is going to inspire you for your own build so you can make something awesome in Prehistoric Kingdom. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. We are inching closer and closer to that 100k, and I just really appreciate it. You'd be awesome. And that was awesome too. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the game.